So let's play it with the gain automation. So here we go.
I'm not fighting wars to lion.
And this is the original.
I'm not fighting wars to lion.
You're listening to the Inside the Mix podcast with your host, Marc Matthews.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Inside the Mix podcast. If you are a new listener, make sure you hit follow on your podcast player of choice. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell so you get notified of any new episodes. And to the returning listeners, as always, a huge welcome back. In episode 164, I demonstrate the use of a classic combination of compressors, the 1176 going into an LA2A on a vocal recording. So it transpires that episode 164 is one of the most popular episodes of the podcast in 2024, certainly on YouTube and definitely in terms of downloads. Lots of engagement, interaction with you, the listeners, and also comments on YouTube. However, there are a number of perfectly valid comments on the YouTube video for episode 164, where viewers mention the use of clip gain automation, or even something like the Waves vocal rider to control the dynamic performance of the recording before it hits the compressor to take the load off the compressor. Now, I did mention that at the end of the video. However, I only mentioned it briefly. So I thought, you know what, I'll record a follow-up video where I go through the process of using clip gain to control the dynamics in a performance before we hit the compressor. So let's give that a go. So here we are in Logic Pro, and I'm using the same vocal recording that I used in episode 164. It is a vocal recording from my track, You and I, which was released, I think it was 2022 now. It's quite a while ago. Anyway, so this is the original recording, no processing whatsoever. This is raw audio.
Going where you take me there. I'm not fighting wars to lion. Ooh.
So this is the same audio, but this time I'm using clip gain to control the dynamics of the performance. So let's give that a listen.
Going where you take me there. I'm not fighting wars to lion. Ooh.
It's more even in terms of dynamic range, but it still fluctuates a fair bit and it will need compression. But this initial stage is going to take the load off the compressor. I'm not going to need so much gain reduction. So let's go through this process. So listening to this audio recording, I've sort of identified the areas where I need to control these dynamics. And it's sort of around this area here. So this is around bar 85 on beat 3, this first one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the marquee tool just to select this audio region, if you will, this portion of audio, up until just about bar 86 or just after. And then click, and then I'm going to use the right mouse button because that's my third tool. And I've got that assigned to the gain tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop it by, let's do 3 dB to begin with. And let's see how that sounds. What I want to do is, from that phrase before this section that I've marqueed using the marquee tool, I want it to flow nicely from one section to the other. It's not such a jump in volume. So let's see how that sounds. So I'm going to go from bar 85, and let's give it a go.
I'm not fighting wars to
Let's play that again.
I'm not fighting.
So it's that fighting word. So I'm going to go back to the original to 0 dB, and let's have a listen to that. I probably should have done that before, to be fair, but let's play that. So this is without clip gain.
I'm not fighting.
So it's quite a bit louder, isn't it? So let's drop it by 3 dB again.
I'm not fighting.
There we go. I think that sounds better. So I've settled on 3 dB there. So I'm going to play it from just before bar 85 through that new clip gained region, then into the final part. And let's give that a go.
I'm not fighting wars to lion.
I mean, you can hear that's around bar 86 or just after. It really does jump up in volume there. So I'm going to marquee that out as well. Let's get the marquee tool on here, and I've done that. So you can just click and drag with the marquee tool, then left click, and it will cut it, I guess, or section it, whatever word you want to use, basically. I'm going to drop this by about 4 dB. So let's give that a go. And 4 dB, there we are. And I'm going to play it. Or let's play it before. This time I'm just going to solo the original. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. But I'm going to play the original.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
Okay, and this is with clip gain. Just clip gain.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
It sounds much better. Still, at around bar 88, you've got it where the vocal does rise in volume there quite a bit. But obviously, there's only a certain amount of clip gain I want to do in terms of controlling dynamics, and I'll leave the rest to the compressor. I mean, it's up to you how you want to do it, really. I'm just adjusting the marquee, the region I've set up here. It's up to you how much you want to do it and how much you want to control the dynamics using clip gain. I like to do it quite subtly. So here, just to recap, all I've done, I've segmented, I don't know what you call it. -3 on this section here in terms of dB. And then after that, it's -4. I mean, I could. Let's try -5. So I'm going to play it all the way through now. This is with clip gain.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
Okay, and then this is the original.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
Ooh, it does get you at the end there, that vocal when it rises. It does need controlling, doesn't it? But this is one way to do it. There is a frequency in there that probably needs a bit of taming as well. And there was a comment on the YouTube video, which was to use dynamic EQ around 2.4K just to control that sort of really quite harsh frequency. So you could add that to it as well to add a bit more control. So another thing you could do. So I've got the 1176 loaded on both tracks with the exact same settings. And let's compare gain reduction here. So I'm going to play the original. And let's have a look and keep an eye on that gain reduction meter. So let's give it a go.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
Looking at the gain reduction meter, the word fighting, about 2 dB of gain reduction. And then that loud section at the end between -4 and -5 dB of gain reduction. If you want to know how I set the compressor, check out episode 164. So now let's have a listen to the original. And again, we'll keep an eye on the gain reduction meter.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
Yeah, so the word fighting, about -3 dB of gain reduction. And then it goes up just above -7 dB of gain reduction for that phrasing at the end. So you can see how using clip gain, we can take the load off the compressor and control the dynamics before we even do any processing. So we've used clip gain, but we can also use gain automation, which probably gives us more control over the dynamic performance. Kind of similar to the Waves vocal rider, but obviously this is a manual process. So let's have a look at using gain automation. So here I am, I'm in the gain automation lane for this track, and you can just get there by pressing A in Logic Pro. It takes you to the gain automation lane. Then you need to select the gain tool from the drop-down list. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to identify the same area we did before. So I'm going to create some nodes, and then I'm going to drop it down. It was 3 dB, wasn't it? We did about 3 dB. There we go. And then I'm going to drop down this final section here. I think it was by about 4 dB, if I remember rightly, something like that. Let's make this a bit bigger. So you can press Command and down arrow, and you can expand the view here, -4. So what we can do here, which we can't do with the clip gain, is have more discrete control over the overall gain of this audio. So during that section at the end of the phrase here where it gets really loud, I can have the gain automation just pulling it down a touch more to control that end phrasing. So I've got it set like I did with the clip gain, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust it slightly. So I'm going to, as it gets towards the end of that phrasing, at the end of that really loud section, I'm going to have it come down to sort of -6 dB. I don't want it to fluctuate too much because I don't want it to sound weird. Obviously, I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know how it's going to sound. So let's play it with the gain automation. So here we go.
I'm not fighting wars to lying.
And this is the original.
I'm not fighting what's still lying.
So you can see it's much more controlled again, like with the clip gain. Let's bring it down to -7. And let's see how that's minus 6.9. We'll leave it there. Let's play it now and see how that sounds.
I'm not fighting what's still lying.
Yeah, cool. Sounds much better. Obviously, you could take more time doing this, but you get the idea. Using gain automation, you have much more discrete control over the level of the audio, the gain, if you will, of the audio. So 2 ways you could do it. You could use clip gain, or you could use gain automation. Or again, like I said earlier, you could use something like the Waves Vocal Rider if you want to save a bit of time. Personally, I like to go in and either use clip gain or use gain automation. I won't lie, clip gain seems to be my favorite of late, but there's a use case for both. Depends on what you're working on. So before we wrap this up, let's do a quick A/B comparison with the 1176s. I've got them loaded here. Same settings again. And let's play the gain automation track and keep an eye on this gain reduction meter.
I'm not fighting what's still lying.
Yes, indeed. I'll describe it to those listening on your podcast player of choice that we've got about -1 to -2 dB of gain reduction for that initial fighting. However, because we're using gain automation, as that vocal gets louder and we're automating the level down, we've only got about 3 dB of gain reduction compared to -4 or -5 using clip gain. So once again, you can see the benefit of gain automation in that we've got more discrete control. Now, if you wanted to speed up this process, you could use something like the Waves Vocal Rider, which will do it for you. But I prefer to do it manually. So let's have a quick listen to the original. We know how it's going to sound, but we'll do it anyway.
I'm not fighting what's still lying.
Yeah, there we go. So 2 options for you there, folks. Clip gain or gain automation. There's a use case for both. Depends on what you want to do, ultimately. There we go, folks. I hope that was of use. And thank you to everybody who commented on episode 164. Your comments were the inspiration for this video. And there were some great comments on there. So please do keep them coming. Some really, really good tips and tricks and advice. So go check out episode 164 on YouTube and the comments. And there's some great stuff in there. If you've enjoyed this episode, I want to hear from you. Click the link in the episode description. Click the SpeakPipe link and leave me a 30-second audio message. It doesn't have to be 30 seconds, but up to, detailing why you enjoyed this episode and why you would recommend it. And also, give yourself a shout out. And as an added bonus, each month I will draw a lucky winner from a virtual hat to win a coffee voucher on me. And if you don't like coffee, just give it to someone else and pretend you gave it to them. So, click the link in the episode description, and I cannot wait to hear your episode recommendations.